Hi there, Mindset Madness here. In today's video, we want to coach you on your social skills and what is limiting you from taking part in any type of social event. If you've ever felt your face turn red as all eyes turn to you, perhaps in a meeting or presentation, you might just be in need of some of our following tips. At Mindset Madness, we work hard every single day to gather and test the information we share with you. So if you like and enjoy the content we put out, don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments. Being shy can be a huge deal breaker for any person. It's stopping you from taking part in any social event and dodging all invitations for conversation. But don't worry, we got you. And truthfully, I've been there too. I've worked for years in getting control over my shyness and even my awkwardness, and I first-handedly tested some of the following tips and applied them on a daily basis. This to get rid of my low self-esteem. And really, I've never felt better. So let's dive in and go over the 10 ways that you can use to increase your self-esteem and limit any shy and awkwardness. 1. Don't focus on yourself. As a shy person, you might cringe at the thought of a whole conversation around who you are and what you're doing in life. Being asked question after question about what you do in your free time, how you're doing at work, and how your relationship is working out for you can cause anxiety and stress for people lacking social skills. So while talking to people, instead of talking about yourself and trying to prove that you're worthy listening to and spending time with, by oversharing and blurting out unnecessary topics, focus on the other person and avoid verbal nonsense. Ask questions about their life and listen to what they're saying. Generally, people love to talk about themselves, so if you look and act interested, they'll leave with a good impression of you. 2. Accept that some situations can be avoided. People often get a sense of awkwardness after they've said something and perhaps didn't get the reaction they expected. But it's important to realize that it's not what they said at first that is awkward, but the way that they reacted to it actually makes the situation uncomfortable. It's not the story you told that people find embarrassing, but it's the verbal nonsense that it leads to when you don't know what to say anymore. We're often so focused on how people react that we identify and label ourselves according to how other people see us. But really, everybody has a different image, and not everyone will see you for who you really are. Don't let what you think people think of you define who you are. Accept that some things cannot be changed and that you will face situations that are uncomfortable, but understand that everybody has them. Everyone has waved to somebody who's not waving back or reaching out their hand while the other person is leaning in for a kiss. We've all been there, and we've all lived our fair share of awkward moments. Some things simply can't be avoided. 3. Bring a friend. If you're not 100% comfortable stepping out by yourself, you can always bring a good friend who you know can hold conversations. The boundary you have to cross to join in becomes smaller, and it makes it easier for you to become part of a social interaction. Do, however, avoid using your friend as a shield. You shouldn't hide behind their social skills and become their shadow. Use the time they go through the bathroom and talk to other people to your benefit, and test your own abilities, and slowly get used to holding a conversation. Whether your friend is part of the same discussion or not, make sure to interact actively and use them as a backup if your social battery is running low. Having a familiar face around can also help you if they're simply in the same room. It gives you a sense of friendliness and safety, which you otherwise wouldn't have. 4. Stop comparing. We are too focused on what other people are doing and what other people are like that we forget that our capabilities are just as worthy as anyone else's. Work on accepting your own abilities and facing your own strengths and weaknesses before you focus on what everyone else is doing. You'll always find someone who is more extroverted than you, someone who loves to talk to other people, and is going from conversation to conversation, but you have no idea what's hiding behind the strong exterior. Comparison can lead to unnecessary anxiety and stress, and people with low self-esteem are already struggling with many things, and it might just push you that bit lower than you already were. Low self-esteem has a huge impact on your social interactions, and if you know it's caused by comparing yourself to others, then avoid doing that. With every negative self-thought that pops up, replace it by a positive affirmation. Yes, we all have our weaknesses, but it's our strengths that define us and make us stand out. Realize that what consumes your mind controls your life, and that is exactly what you don't want. 5. Don't apologize. Insecurities are revealed as you act upon them. If you're constantly apologizing for whatever you do, people will understand that you're not comfortable with who you are because you show that your natural reactions aren't in line with what you think is the norm. Stop apologizing. Accept who you are and move forward. Work on the things that can be changed, but don't try to turn your personality around completely. As said previously, we all have our weaknesses. Tackle the ones you feel most uncomfortable about and those that are hindering your path to success. But don't change yourself into someone you think others want you to be. What others expect of you isn't relevant, because their opinion shouldn't impact you once you accept who you are. 6. Body language. As it's difficult to control your social awkwardness, one thing you can control is your posture and the way you hold yourself. Studies have shown that physical confidence greatly impacts the way people feel, regardless of whether they have low self-esteem or not. And some of the best tips are standing tall with a straight spine and holding your shoulders back. Also, don't forget to make eye contact. By forcing yourself to do so and not looking away, you show the other person that you are not shy and don't feel uncomfortable in their presence. Even though you might feel like it, they don't need to know that. People interacting with you will do so differently if they feel you are insecure and if they feel that you have low self-esteem. This will actually make them feel better and give them extra confidence to lead the conversation. However, this is really not the healthy way to do so. Instead of living off of other people's insecurities, focus on how to build your own in an organic way. Listen to the person you're talking to, ask them questions, and don't overcompensate by talking about yourself all the time. If you want to come across less shy and awkward, you might also want to hold power poses. Some of them can be practiced while interacting, but others are recommended right before you enter a conversation or step into that meeting you've been dreading. One of the best power poses is putting your hands on your hips. By doing so, you hold a strong stance and you show your presence across the room. Some people also prefer to hold their hands crossed behind their head or standing with the wide stance. Practice some of these poses before entering the room or while talking to someone new and analyze how you feel afterwards. If it helps, practice it more often. Small changes can have a huge impact. You don't need big and extreme efforts to see results. 7. Make lists. Preparation is key if you want to avoid failure. Even though failure is a big word, shyness and awkwardness can sometimes feel like it. You've been dreading that meeting for such a long time, and when it happens and you give into your low self-esteem, you feel really disappointed and unsuccessful afterwards, even though you feel like you prepared for it. But did you really? Did you prepare for the content that would be discussed, or did you also prepare for the social interaction surrounding that meeting? Don't leave any room for error. Prepare for your meeting, make a list of all the possible questions and topics that could be raised, and by doing so, take away all the anxiety and stress related to the unknown. People with low self-esteem are greatly impacted by the image they think people have of them. And if you don't prepare and anticipate the possible questions, then you might react in a way you're disappointed by. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. 8. Control the environment. You can start small by taking social steps in an environment you're comfortable with. Instead of throwing yourself out there in a place that you don't really know, start socializing in a place that's familiar to you. Your work environment is ideal for this. You know your colleagues, you know everyone's job, you know their names, and you know where you can find them. So you're in full control of your surroundings, and the only thing you are insecure about is your interaction skills. It's up to you to determine when and how you're going to face the situation. You can do so by heading over to your colleague's desk and asking them about the project or customer you're both working on. Make a list of the things you want to discuss and use it as a common thread throughout the conversation. If your struggles are more with regards to social interaction outside of work, go to your favorite bar or restaurant with your best friends and use them as a shield for when your social battery is running low. It's up to you to decide when you want to go over and talk to someone new, or when you want to take a step back and enjoy the interaction going on around you. By controlling the environment, you don't waste time on trying to feel comfortable in this new setting, and it's one less thing to worry about while working on your social skills. 9. Stop labeling yourself. If you give yourself the label of a shy and awkward person, you force yourself to feel this way as well. You're basically holding up the vicious circle. You'll use it as an excuse as to why you didn't go and talk to that person, or you didn't stay for a drink after work. But instead of giving into it, you should break the circle and get out of your comfort zone. Don't make the mistake to label yourself and then be stuck inside that label for the rest of your life. I used to call myself a shy person all the time, but there were enough times and situations where I wasn't acting shy and awkward. Family dinners or outings with my friends were the perfect example of that. I was shy and awkward when I was around people I didn't know well, or I was faced with a situation out of my comfort zone, but it didn't define who I was all the time. Labels can only confine you, and it's not about being labeled, but it's about how you react to it. 10. Face your shyness and awkwardness. Getting rid of your shyness doesn't happen like that, and especially not after having talked to 2 people once. You have to practice and you have to force yourself to face any type of situation in which you don't feel comfortable. By taking small steps towards social interactions every single day, you become more confident in your ability to talk to others. If you're usually someone who writes an email to ask something to a coworker, skip the email and head over to their desk to ask the question. You'll feel a sense of pride and productivity if you repeat this frequently, And after a while, you won't feel awkward doing so anymore. Taking one step a day in the right direction will get you closer to your goal, and it would also show you that a lot of the worrying only exists in your head. When you finally overcome the boundaries set for yourself, you understand that all the scenarios you had played out in your head of what could go wrong are merely thoughts, and none of these will actually happen. But if they do, you'll be ready to face them, and you'll learn from them as you go. Thinking will not overcome fear, but only action will. It's an illusion which traps you into avoiding growth.